I change your bum life. You fight me, it's a celebration.
I would beat you.
When you sign to fight me, it's a celebration. You ring back home, you ring your wife. Baby, we done it. We're rich, baby. Conor McGregor made us rich. Break out the red panties.
Are you ready?
That goes in the files.
Are you ready? Let's get it all!
Yo. Welcome back to the fifth round. As always, your boy, Stephen Moustaris. And guys, last week, UFC 285 was one of the more fun cards, more fun times leading up to a fight card in a while. And clearly a stacked card. And I know I've already talked about it. I don't know if you guys watched or whatnot, but clearly, I mean, I did a bunch of pre-fight videos and whatnot. And then, of course, did like a post-fight instant reaction thing at like 1:30 in the morning, just on cloud nine, watching my favorite fighter win, John Jones, getting to watch. You know, I was calling it all last week that I thought Alexa Grasso had a chance to win. I even won a bunch of money off her because I picked submission. You know, kind of felt good. I thought Jeff Neal had it. I called a bunch of fights and I thought it was fun. And then clearly, I mean, we got spoiled as fans for that fight card. And then, you know, we got one like a week now away, the whole Leon Edwards versus Kamaru Usman 2, which I'm very, very ecstatic on. But of course, you know, between that, the UFC takes no breaks unless it's around that New Year's time. But you know, we got our fight card this week, and it's Petr Yan versus Merab Dvalishvili. I'm always terrible at saying that, but pretty sure I didn't do bad there. But, you know, guys, like, clearly this fight night, I'm a broken clock. If you guys watch any of my breakdowns or anything when it comes to fights, when it comes to on the ESPN cards, you know, it's also like, yeah, I see where the average fan, and back in the day when they used to have all those fights on, like, Versus, and, like, I think, was it Fox, or not Fox, but they had one on Spike TV, I think it used to be on all the time. Like, yeah, the fight cards used to always kind of suck in comparison to the pay-per-views, but you know, as diehard fans out there, we have a couple things to look out for. You know, I think JJ Aldridge is fighting. I think Mario Batista, who's been killing motherfuckers. I know, excuse my language, but I know he's like a negative 900 favorite or something crazy. You got Saeed Nurmagomedov. I think he's fighting Jonathan Martinez, who's an absolute fucking killer. I know Rafael Sunsao, I think's on there against Davey Grant. Ryan Spence finally got Nikita Krylov, and then we got the battle of the Alexanders and Alexander Volkov and was it Romanov or something. So, you know, there are some fights for us to watch, and, you know, there are some heavier boys on there. So, you know, the chances of knockouts are probably pretty exciting. But where I'm always a broken clock, man, it's always fun to watch these fight cards because finally you got these guys that aren't the most well-named yet, or well-known yet, I should say. They don't have the biggest names quite yet. And, you know, some of us who actually sit here and watch, you know, the early prelims all the time, like we know some of these guys, we know they're killers, but it is their time to finally make a name for themselves. And most of the time you see a lot of finishes on average compared to some of the pay-per-views on these fight cards just because these guys got to make a name for themselves. And they come out with so much energy and it's their chance, and they're on ESPN. So, you know, there are a bunch of fights I am excited about. Probably won't talk about many of them, though, just because it's like, hey, we're just going to tune in and watch. And, you know, especially on the betting odds, if you guys want to make some money, I would definitely bet on a lot of the prelim fights. Just because there's some in MMA, I don't like when we see the guy 5-1 favorite or 8-1 plus, you know, all that stuff. So maybe throw a couple dollars down. But, you know, the one fight I really wanted to get into is the whole Petr Yan and Merab Dvalishvili fight. I think this fight's going to be, I want to say it's going to be fireworks, but this is why I kind of want to talk about it. I really think we're in a pretty tight spot here as fans. I think it's either Petr Yan's going to have a wild finish or Merab's going to make this one of the most boring fights that has ever been known to man. Like, Merab, and no offense to Merab, what Merab does is so fucking skillful and so talented and just so impressive as somebody. If you guys understand how hard it is to control somebody, like I know we're out here, we like to see the knockouts. We like to, like, especially newer fans love to see the highlight reel knockouts. You know, if they are going to go to the ground, you want to see the ground and pound, some mean elbows, or maybe just like a really nasty, like maybe like triangle finish or something. But, you know, when it comes to those Habib type guys and Kamaru Usman type guys, you know, it's Merab Dvalishvili is right there with you. And he's just, man, he's like the energized bunny. He never runs out of energy. So he's going to be there from the opening bell to the final bell, especially in a 5-round fight. So, you know, we got some pros and negatives here when it at least comes to pros and cons when it comes to both guys. Like if you're a big Petr Yan fan, yeah, it sucks he's lost 3 of his last 4. But if you really go back and like look, I mean, we got the DQ against Aljo. He comes back and he beats Corey Sandhagen, and then of course, you know, he loses to Aljamain in a split decision, which I thought was right. I thought he lost that fight, but then the Sugar Sean fight also split. I kind of watching it, I was biased. I wanted to see Sugar win. Clearly, I thought this is the tough thing too. It's not always fair to fighters, but it is always circumstantial. Like if you're like we just watched with the Islam versus Volkanovski fight. Like we've seen Islam just be so dominant at all times, and when he's not and he's actually in a close fight, we tend to lean with the challenger a little bit more and go, oh my God, nobody saw this coming. And even though they might have won, like Islam and Piotr or whatever, we always seem to give it to the other guy who just shocked the world with that great of a performance. So as much as we don't want to say it's circumstantial, like it really is. So, I did think Sean O'Malley won, but I could totally see if you're a Petr Yan fan, if you take away all of his past performances and what we know of him and everything, like he might have won that fight. I'm not going to deny it. I want to see more draws. I've always been saying that. But, the cool thing for him, though, is you can kind of tell his confidence hasn't been changing. He hasn't been finished. You know what I'm saying? He's had Aljamain Sterling on his back for like 11 minutes in two fight times, maybe even more, and still got out of there. So you can honestly say that like he's so close to being on a 12-fight win streak or whatever the hell it would be. And yeah, sadly he's lost 3 of his last 4. And another thing that's really cool for him too is he's already fought in Aljamain Sterling, which everybody knows Merab is like the number 1 training partner for Aljamain Sterling. So if you're coming out of that camp, the Matt Serra and Ray Longo camp, like, yeah, when you're fighting against them, like, okay, you kind of know what their game plan is going to be. They know how to beat you, so you kind of know what's going to happen. And Merab, although he has knocked a bunch of people out before, like we've seen, I think in his early pro career, he knocked out Rafian Stotts. And if you guys know who Rafian Stotts is over at Bellator, that dude's a killer. So, he's got the spinning back fist knockouts. He can finish people, but it's more so just his pace and everything. It just starts wearing down on you. So, of course, if you're a Merab fan, that's another thing that could go in both ways. I don't know which way it's going to go, but you already have been in a camp. You've seen your best friend who's a champion or whatever. You've seen him at an Aljamain beat him already and, nullify whatever he does. So, or nullify whatever he does. So, it is pretty exciting for a Merab style like that. But yeah, I don't know about you guys. It's not one I want to bet. I know Merab is like what, plus 200 underdog, I think, which is well deserving. But yeah, I'm just warning you guys now. This could be a very, very boring fight. And, I just feel bad for Piotr because it's like if he does lose this fight in a weird way, like, okay, you lost 4 of your last 5. And no, I don't think he's going to get cut or anything like that. It's just more tough for somebody who just came in so dominant. I think won like 7 of his first UFC fights or whatever. And then DQ kind of starts the downhill spiral where he's clearly in control of that fight, about to win against Aljo the first time. Gives Aljo a second chance, has to fight Corey, goes out and beats Corey in a very impressive way. And like we said, lost 2 really close split decisions. So in Merab, clearly on an 8-fight win streak. And this is just where it gets weird because, as much as Merab and Aljamain Sterling have said and been very open that they don't want to fight each other because they're too close of friends, like we're also getting down to the nitty gritty. A couple years ago, we were all worried about this. If you care about the Longo and Sarah camp over there, like, it's already been in the woodwork. It's already been in the, it's already been in the future. It's already been in the stars. We're seeing it. Like, it's lining up. Like, oh my gosh, they're fighting at the top, these top guys, and they're going through win streaks, and they're bound to fight each other. So if Merab beats Piotr, this is going to be a tough one for Aljamain Sterling and Merab. I don't know what's going to happen because who else does Merab have to beat after that? You know what I'm saying? Like, even though I know Sugar Sean's up there and deserves a title fight and whatnot, but I know Henry Cejudo came in and kind of shit on everything. Like, who's Merab going to fight? Does he have to fight anybody next? Should he fight a Sandhagen? I know Cheeto and Sandhagen are fighting, so, like, whoever wins that, do they get Merab, or does that winner get Sean, or does Merab get Sean? I don't know what's going to happen, but it's also getting very down to the nitty-gritty. So, I mean, clearly, if you're Aljamain Sterling and Merab, you want each of you guys to keep winning and then kind of deal with it once we get there, but at the same time, there's got to be some like hopeful wishing here if you're the UFC that either Henry Cejudo can go on to beat Aljamain or Piotr beats Merab here or whatever. So it's not like another little like layup there, or a layoff I should say, where we're just keeping the whole division held up because clearly we see it too much already. And Henry Cejudo doing what he's doing, which I think he's deserving of the title fight. Don't get me wrong, but still, I just think this whole thing's about to play out real weird, and I just don't know what's going to happen. So if Merab beats a Sugar Sean O'Malley, say beats Piotr, goes on to beat Sugar or Corey Sandhagen or Cheeto Vera, say he has to go that route, then there's literally nothing else for him. And now he's got to fight Henry or not Triple C. I keep wanting to say Henry, but Aljamain Sterling. So it's going to be a tough one. Clearly, if you're Aljo, you're like, I got the belt. It doesn't matter. If you're Merab, just keep winning. I know that they're probably at good terms. So it's exciting to see. And I wonder if they'll fight each other or whatnot because money talks. And there's no way that the UFC is going to let 135 stay this jam-packed for this long. These guys are killers up there. And it's one of them rare times that we have 4 or 5 guys that could probably be deserving of a title fight. in comparison of what other people are getting title fights. Like, no offense to Alex Pereira, but this dude comes in, just at 185 is kind of so dead, and Izzy's, kind of beat the entire division that Alex Pereira, all he's got to do is come in and beat Sean Strickland, and then he's got a title fight, and just so happens that their styles work out, and he's a champion. So, and like heavyweight, they're all over the place. You see it everywhere right now. So 135 is always jam-packed. 155 was there. It's like what 155 was a couple years ago when we had Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier, Michael Chandler, Charles Oliveira, Habib still at this time, Conor kind of talking, Tony kind of talking still. Like, it was wild at that time. So I'm just excited to see how it plays out. I want to see Piotr win. I think he deserves it, but at the same time, I'm just telling you guys, I'm just having a weird feeling that Merab's going to make this very boring and very tight. I think a lot like the Jose Aldo fight, where Aldo just couldn't breathe, man. Every second that he thought he got a little break there, Merab was just on his ass, pushing him up against the cage again in the clinch. So, as always, it's your boy Stephen Moustaris. Let me know what you guys think of this fight, or what you guys think this whole Merab, like, because if even Petr Yan wins, like, what does he got? He's got to fight the same guys he's already fight. So it's gonna be a weird one right now. So this fight is definitely kind of made for a Merab win if you look at what's going on. So I'm not sure what's going on, but yeah, let me know what you guys think. As always, 5th round, your boy Stephen Moustaris. Let's go, baby.